The entrepreneurial paradox: why more Black women owned businesses doesn't equal more wealth. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. I'm truly honored to be here, sharing insights from my recent interview with Nikki Green, a visionary researcher and advocate whose groundbreaking work on Black women's entrepreneurship is transforming how we understand economic empowerment. Nikki isn't just collecting data, she's igniting a revolution in how we think about wealth creation, economic justice, and the true meaning of entrepreneurial success. Her fearless commitment to uncovering uncomfortable truths has forced institutions to confront their biases and created pathways where none existed before. In a world of surface level solutions, Nikki digs to the root, and her work has already changed the trajectory for thousands of Black women entrepreneurs across America. I want to start with something that shocked me during our conversation. Despite Black women being the fastest growing group of entrepreneurs in the United States, only 15% of Black women entrepreneurs report making a profit. Let that sink in for a moment. The most entrepreneurial demographic in America is the least likely to actually make money from their businesses. This challenges everything we think we know about entrepreneurship and economic mobility. We've been told that starting businesses is the path to wealth creation, that entrepreneurship is the great equalizer, that if you just work hard enough and hustle enough, success will follow. But what if that's not true? What if the system is designed in such a way that certain entrepreneurs face barriers so significant that hard work alone cannot overcome them? This is the uncomfortable reality Nikki Green's research has uncovered. The conventional wisdom that simply increasing the number of Black women owned businesses will automatically lead to economic empowerment is fundamentally flawed. The real issue isn't just about launching businesses, but ensuring they have the support, capital, and resources needed to thrive. Let me share some numbers that illuminate this disconnect. Black women entrepreneurs are driving remarkable business growth, making up 21% of all female owned companies in the US. Women of color account for 89% of new female owned businesses created daily. That's extraordinary entrepreneurial energy. But here's where things get troubling. Despite this tremendous growth, businesses owned by women of color account for only $422.5 million dollars of the $1.9 trillion dollars made by female owned companies overall. The growth in numbers isn't translating to proportional economic success. Why is this happening? What's creating this gap between entrepreneurial activity and actual wealth creation? The answer lies in what Nikki calls the dual burden, the unique challenge Black women entrepreneurs face from both racial and gender discrimination in business. This isn't just theoretical, it manifests in very concrete ways. Consider the funding gap. Women led businesses receive only 7% of global venture capital. But it gets worse. Even when Black women entrepreneurs secure funding, the median amount they receive, $105,000, is significantly lower than the overall median of $204,000. That's nearly 50% less capital to work with, to grow with, to weather storms with. This isn't just about access to capital, it's about equitable access. It's about the quality of that access. It's about what happens after you get in the room. The employment data tells a similar story. Black women lost 106,000 jobs in April 2025 alone, the most among all workers, with their unemployment rate rising to 6.1%. For comparison, white women's unemployment rate sits at just 3.3%. This employment vulnerability is precisely why entrepreneurship has become such an important economic pathway for Black women. Yet the very systems that push Black women toward entrepreneurship fail to adequately support them once they arrive. As Maya Angelou wisely said, when someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. Our economic systems have shown us repeatedly who and what they value. It's time we believe what we're seeing and work to change it. I recently learned about Peace, a nonprofit organization that has been working to dismantle barriers that prevent women entrepreneurs from thriving as business leaders, with a special focus on Black women entrepreneurs. Their work offers both a sobering reality check and a glimpse of what's possible when we address these challenges head on. Their researchers discovered that Black women entrepreneurs faced significant socioeconomic and cultural barriers that went far beyond simple access issues. Many reported profound isolation, lacking mentors who understood their specific challenges, networks that could open doors, and financial institutions willing to take a chance on their visions. Perhaps most heartbreaking was the finding that 40% of these women cited lack of confidence as a major obstacle to entrepreneurship. Think about that. These are brilliant, capable, innovative women whose greatest barrier isn't their ideas or abilities, but the psychological toll of navigating systems that constantly question their worth and potential. When you're repeatedly told explicitly and implicitly that you don't belong in entrepreneurial spaces, that doubt becomes internalized. Be Peace recognized this complex reality and responded with multifaceted solutions. They created targeted mentorship programs that paired Black women entrepreneurs with advisors who understood their specific challenges. They built networking spaces where women of color could share strategies, celebrate victories, and support each other through setbacks. Most importantly, they developed alternative financing models that acknowledged and addressed the unique barriers these women faced. By 2023, their efforts had begun showing promising results. Women led businesses in their portfolio secured 55% of the total investment raised. That's progress worth celebrating. But even within this progressive organization, the pattern persisted. The median amount Black women received was still significantly lower than the overall median. Even in spaces explicitly designed to be equitable, these disparities prove stubbornly persistent. This reminds me of something Nikki Green emphasized in our interview. The problem isn't that Black women aren't starting businesses. The problem is that our economic systems weren't designed with Black women in mind, and we're still treating the symptoms rather than the cause. The numbers tell an impressive story of entrepreneurial determination. There are now over 6.4 million businesses managed by women of color in the United States, a staggering 163% growth rate. Black women owned companies now account for almost 21% of all female owned companies in the United States. Women of color comprise 39% of the entire female population, but account for 89% of new female owned firms created daily. These women aren't waiting for permission or perfect conditions. They're creating opportunities where none existed before. They're building businesses not just for profit, but for purpose to serve communities overlooked by mainstream companies to create jobs in underemployed neighborhoods, to demonstrate what's possible to the next generation. Yet, despite this tremendous entrepreneurial energy, significant challenges remain in translating business ownership into proportional economic success. As Nikki pointed out during our conversation, entrepreneurship without adequate support is just another form of economic exploitation. We're asking Black women to take on enormous risk without providing the infrastructure that makes success possible. The employment landscape adds another layer of urgency to this conversation. Recent data reveals that Black women lost 106,000 jobs in April 2025, the most among any demographic group, with their unemployment rate jumping to 6.1% from 5.1% in just 1 month. Organizations like HBCU Money have begun tracking these disparities, revealing that this represents a 5 month low in Black women's employment and a 5 month high in their unemployment. When traditional employment fails Black women at this scale, entrepreneurship becomes not just an option, but a necessity. Yet without adequate support, this necessity driven entrepreneurship often leads to businesses that struggle to achieve profitability, creating a cycle of economic vulnerability that's difficult to break. So, what do we do with this information? How do we move from awareness to action? First, we need to recognize that increasing the number of Black women entrepreneurs is necessary but not sufficient. We need to focus equally on ensuring these businesses have what they need to thrive, not just to survive. Second, we need to acknowledge that the barriers Black women entrepreneurs face are systemic, not individual. This isn't about Black women needing to work harder or be more confident or learn more skills. This is about dismantling systems that were never designed for their success in the first place. Third, we need targeted interventions that address the specific challenges Black women entrepreneurs face. Generic entrepreneurship programs or one size fits all approaches won't cut it. I stand before you today not just to share these troubling statistics, but to issue a challenge to reimagine what true economic empowerment looks like, a challenge to build systems that don't just allow Black women entrepreneurs to enter the room, but ensure they have the resources to transform it. What would our economy look like if Black women entrepreneurs received truly equitable access to capital, mentorship, and resources? What innovations are we missing? What problems remain unsolved because we've silenced the very voices most equipped to address them? This isn't just about justice for one demographic, though that alone would be reason enough. This is about creating an economy that harnesses the full creative potential of all its participants, an economy that doesn't waste talent, ideas, and determination because a bias is both conscious and unconscious. As you leave this talk today, I ask you to consider your sphere of influence. Are you an investor? Examine your portfolio and your funding patterns. Are you a business owner? Consider mentoring a Black woman entrepreneur or becoming a customer of Black women owned businesses. Are you a consumer? Make intentional choices about where you spend your dollars. The statistics show us a problem, but together we can be part of the solution. In the powerful words Nikki shared with me, when we design systems that work for Black women, we create systems that work better for everyone. The most marginalized among us shouldn't be an afterthought, they should be the starting point. The time for incremental change has passed. The time for revolutionary thinking is now, because a world where the most entrepreneurial among us struggle the most to profit from their ventures isn't just unfair, it's unsustainable. Let's build something better together. Thank you.